that of what took place with the solar eclipse.
E identificamos esto de lo que ocurrió con el eclipse solar.
So at this stage, everything is going to happen very rapidly.
Y en estos momentos todo va a ocurrir muy rápidamente.
Everybody has heard that we have been identifying, all of us, have to begin our process of separating from corruption.
Y todo el mundo lo ha estado escuchando de que todo mundo tiene que estar empezando el proceso de separarse de todas las corrupciones.
This what happens here today, what transpired between us, is not a setback to either one of us.
Y lo que ocurre aquí el día de hoy, lo que se produjo entre nosotros, no es de ninguna forma algo que nos retenga ni para uno ni para el otro.
Before we met, Barbara and Mauricio were doing their thing. They did not have to have any kind of contact with us.
Antes de que nos conociéramos, Bárbara y Mauricio estaban haciendo lo que hacían de su lado, no necesitaban ningún contacto con nosotros.
And the same thing with us.
Y lo mismo de este lado.
And so this thing does not alter either of our courses.
Y esto no altera ninguna de nuestras direcciones.
They are still going to do what they do. They don't need our approval or suggestions or anything.
Van a hacer lo que hacen, no necesitan nuestra aprobación ni nuestras sugerencias ni nada.
But we continue separately.
Pero continuamos de forma separada.
This may look like or sound like a sad thing, but it is not.
Y esto puede que suene o parezca como algo triste, pero no lo es.
Imagine if you were told that you got to do this job and the boss puts you with, partners you up with somebody that you're just diametrically opposite with.
Imaginen que está en un trabajo y el jefe les pone a trabajar en equipo con alguien con quien son diametralmente opuestos.
Why should either one of those workers lose their job?
¿Por qué alguno de los dos trabajadores tendría que perder su empleo?
The boss, quite simply, all they have to do is find who either one can be partnered up with in a conducive fashion to each other.
El jefe lo único que hizo fue ver con quién podían trabajar el uno con el otro de una forma conduciva.
So nobody should view this as a negative. We are not telling anybody stay away from Barbara and Mauricio.
Entonces nadie debería de ver esto como algo negativo. No le estamos diciendo a nadie, oye, no hagas nada con Bárbara y con Mauricio.
We will tell everybody the exact opposite.
Sino que le vamos a decir a todo mundo exactamente lo opuesto.
If you want to know something or have connections to the Mapuche world, follow their Ruf Sagun.
Si quieres saber algo acerca del pueblo mapuche o tener una conexión con su voz, bueno, ten un contacto con Ruf Sagun.
We have no issues with that.
No tenemos ningún problema con eso.
The only thing is that we are not participating in that.
Lo único es que no vamos a poder participar en eso.
So we continue without any hard feelings.
Entonces continuamos sin ningún sentimiento duro o pesado.
But we learn together from the experience.
Pero aprendemos de esta experiencia juntos.
And maybe perhaps the next time that both of us or either of us have contact with either.
Y puede que entonces la próxima vez que alguno de nosotros tengamos contacto con el otro,
that maybe from their side, they just take into consideration certain things.
Puede que entonces de su lado van a tomar en consideración ciertas cosas.
From our side, our agenda will never change.
Y de nuestro lado, la agenda no va a cambiar.
It never has, it never will.
Nunca lo ha hecho y no lo va a hacer.
We are a public people where all of our business is done public.
Somos una gente pública en donde todos nuestros asuntos son hechos de forma pública.
I will never allow myself for anybody to have private meetings.
Y no me voy a permitir tener una consideración especial de nuevo en relación para tener encuentros privados.
So I identify that whatever has happened between us is 100% my fault because of me making that mistake of having private meetings.
Entonces yo identifico que todo lo que ocurrió entre nosotros es a 100% mi culpa porque yo acepté el tener en primer lugar ese encuentro privado.
So what everybody has seen here, there is no negative or blame to be put.
Recording in progress.
Y de esta forma lo que todo mundo pudo observar aquí es que
Or blame that is on the shoulders of Barbara or Mauricio.
de ninguna forma podría yo poner alguna responsabilidad o peso o culpa sobre los hombros de Bárbara ni de Mauricio.
This has been my fault for that indiscretion.
Esto fue enteramente mi culpa por esa indiscreción.
So from here, we know that we move on, correcting anything that we know was a wrong.
Entonces, a partir de aquí sabemos que nos movemos corrigiendo lo que sabemos que fue un error.
So anybody, if you ever try to ask us for a private meeting, I am going to know that you are a government insurgent.
Entonces voy a decir inmediatamente que si cualquier persona me pide tener un encuentro privado, eso a mí me va a poner una alerta como que son insurgentes del gobierno.
Nobody gets a private meeting.
Nadie tiene un encuentro privado.
In our fight against what we are fighting, this must be known to everyone immediately. While it is happening, the corruptions of this world must be placed immediately on the shoulders of the corrupt.
Y esto tiene que ser sabido inmediatamente de la parte de todos, porque la responsabilidad de las corrupciones tiene que ser puestas justamente sobre los hombros de los corruptos.
So just to relate to you is that this is not an incident unto itself. It's not isolated.
Y también para que todo el mundo lo sepa, esto que ocurrió aquí no es un incidente aislado.
It's part of a cleansing.
Es parte de una limpieza.
It's been our cleansing.
Ha sido nuestra limpieza.
Some of you know that this cleansing began at the last moon, 2 reconstitutions ago, where we finally made our separations from Cristobal Goti's corruption.
Y ustedes saben que hace parte de un proceso de limpieza en el cual hace 2 lunas finalmente rompimos nuestros lazos con Cristóbal Cogti.
Some people seen it as a sad thing.
Y hay quienes lo vieron como algo triste.
Why would it be sad?
¿Por qué sería algo triste?
If somebody's corrupt and maintaining it and you separate from it, why would it be a sad thing?
Si alguien está corrupto y sigue manteniéndose en eso y ustedes se separan de ello, ¿por qué sería algo triste?
And so as I have just admitted, this is my fault, then it is a good thing for Mauricio and Barbara.
Y como yo acabo de identificar que esto fue mi culpa, entonces es algo bueno para Bárbara y Mauricio.
Because now they will not have the corruptions of which they have both identified.
Porque ahora no van a estar sujetos a las corrupciones que ambos identificaron.
But this is part and parcel as to not only with Cristobal, but just to give you an update on something absolutely crazy that just happened this past week.
Y esto no es algo solamente de, como decíamos, aislado que haya ocurrido con Bárbara y Mauricio, sino que es algo que ocurrió completamente loco esta semana.
Okay, hopefully all of you or some of you are aware that 2 weeks ago we had a meeting in Montreal, a big meeting with a whole bunch of different people that were from all different walks of life and different interests, but everybody fighting or resisting government oppression.
Tal vez hace un par de semanas ustedes vieron que tuvimos un encuentro en Montreal con bastantes grupos de diferentes horizontes.
As you know, we identify hemp unity.
Y como sabemos, identificamos la unidad del cáñamo.
That hemp, we view it as wide emergence medicine needed for our Mother Earth, that political, social, spiritual, physical levels.
E identificamos que el cáñamo es la medicina necesaria para nuestra madre tierra que va a corregir todos los daños que han sido hechos a ella a nivel ecológico, social, político, etc.
So we had a guy suggested to us who is spent his whole life, 40 years, in the field of hemp.
Entonces alguien nos sugirió una persona que es un hombre que ha dedicado sus últimos al menos 20 años en la investigación con respecto al cáñamo.
Working with him, not in one field.
Disculpen, pero ya, o sea, esto ya no, o sea, ahora nos están diciendo a nosotros que somos corruptos, en vez de preguntar siquiera, o sea, porque no queremos hacer cosas públicas, nosotros somos corruptos o somos personas que están con el Estado. Es porque entendieron que yo estaba diciendo eso, no entiendo. Quiero salir de acá porque ya no tiene sentido, ni siquiera nos conocen.
So I just want to leave because now if you're saying that if we don't want to do things public and it's
Es
just
una agresión.
we are going to be a government insurgents or corrupt, then this is like an aggression that you are doing by
If you want, you can leave. We're closing anyways. Our business is done, so you can leave if you want.
Si te quieres salir, no hay ningún problema.
La
Ya
verdad
estamos
es que
concluyendo y bueno, nuestros trabajos juntos.
Me quedé
Okay,
todo
so
este
as we
tiempo
were-
para aclarar, digo esto y ya me voy, me quedé todo este tiempo para aclarar y puse mi mejor voluntad para poder comunicar de forma clara, nunca los agredí. Nunca los agredí.
So the only thing that I want to say is that I stayed here to clarify and I never aggressed you.
Nunca los agredí, no voy a permitir que me estén agrediendo. Recién me dijeron que yo estaba diciendo algo que no era, luego alguien silenció, lo comprendo, pero ahora me están diciendo que entonces personas como yo, que no quiere estar expuesta con una cámara, es porque trabaja con el gobierno, están dejando de entender eso. Es una falta de respeto y es violento.
And then when I was saying something that I was not in agreement, somebody silenced me. And now you are saying that because I don't want to be in something public, I am a government insurgent. That is really an aggression.
No, I'm not saying anything to you now. Everything was already said. We're already done.
Ya no estoy diciendo nada a ti en ese momento, ya habíamos terminado ese asunto, ya estábamos hablando de otra cosa.
Está diciendo que las personas que se manejan de un modo y no quieren hacer cosas públicas son porque son corruptos, o así opera el Estado. Y eso está diciendo.
That the people that don't want to be in public are paid by the government.
Okay, you can think whatever you want. Like I said, we're already done. I mean, why keep beating a dead horse?
Como dije, ya terminamos, ya no hay razón para seguir eso, es decir, como seguir pegándole
No, dejo acá, pero quería aclarar esto porque me es injusto. Sinceramente es un espacio muy violento, es muy violento. Y encima me silenciaron y tengo que estar pidiendo la voz, y luego pasan a otro tema y vuelven a decir algo que tiene relación con lo que nos dijeron hace un rato. Es violento, y si no lo pueden ver, lo siento, hice todo lo posible para que se vea. Tienen problemas de comunicación, y yo estoy tratando de hacer lo posible para comunicarnos, y yo no los violento, y ustedes sí lo están haciendo. Si no se replantean eso, el problema va a continuar con otras personas, y sería muy triste. Dejo esto acá, muchas gracias.
We want to translate or?
Oh, of course. What do you think?
Well, she's gone. So she says that if you don't analyze the way you do things and you don't consider that this what has been done is violent in the sense that she was talking, then somebody muted her, and then we haven't concluded yet, and then you just tell her that she's corrupt or government insurgent, and then you just move on into something else, like without expecting that she would have to reply. Well, that's a very violent space. So if you didn't acknowledge or didn't want to see it, she did everything was possible to show that this is a violent space, and if you cannot see it, well, there's nothing else to be said or done.
Okay, and now she's gone. As we were saying, that with this hemp guy, he was 40 years in the field. His name was Michel. What? Marcheter.
Y bueno, ya se fue Bárbara, y lo que estábamos diciendo era con respecto a este hombre que está trabajando en el ámbito del cáñamo desde hace 20 años, cuyo nombre es Michel Marcheter.
He came to this meeting, and like as many people as possible had their voice, he had his voice and spoke for, I think it was almost an hour, right? Giving all his information about hemp.
Vino a este encuentro del que hablábamos en Montreal, presentó su información en círculo y de hecho ha de haber hablado al menos durante una hora hablando de todo lo que tenía que decir.
And that meeting ended approximately around 5:30, yeah, around
We
there.
have to leave at 5. Y ese encuentro acabó a las 5 porque a esa hora nos teníamos que ir.
And then we came here afterwards for dinner and the Ganyangejo class. It was last Saturday.
Y luego venimos acá para cenar y luego teníamos la clase de Gañangueja porque era sábado.
Now, he was here with his girlfriend who comes from Shadigi, the next community to here.
Y ella estaba aquí con su, él estaba aquí con su novia que viene de Chateauguay, que es de la comunidad de aquí al lado.
But where he's from is about 7 or 8 hours from here.
Pero de donde él viene es a unas 6 o 7 horas de aquí.
Anyways, at the end of the meeting, he didn't want to leave. His girlfriend didn't want to leave. We had such a good relationship, such good conversation, that everything was so good. It took them an hour to get out the door, and everybody was on a high. Everybody knew we were working, we were engaged.
And as a clarification, the girlfriend is not from Chateauguay. She used to live in Chateauguay, but now she lives over there too. Just so everything is like with the eyes on the
She's
dark.
from Shadigi.
Yeah.
Didn't I say she's from Shadigi?
Yeah, but just to
No,
clarify,
she's from
that
Shadigi.
she doesn't live in Chateauguay anymore. Entonces, estuvieron aquí los dos, tanto Michelle como su novia, estuvieron en la clase de lengua, estuvieron contentos, platicamos un montón, ninguno de los dos se quería ir, entonces nos la pasamos súper bien.
Anyways, everything was fine. There was established a meeting that the girls were going to go to at his place in Gaspésie this coming Thursday, right?
Saturday.
This next Saturday.
Y a partir de ahí se estableció que iba a haber un encuentro, que las cabezas temporales de la nación iban a ir a verle este próximo fin de semana que viene.
No, let's see, what's today? We got an email, I think it was on Tuesday, yeah? Tuesday or Wednesday.
Recibimos un mail el martes o el miércoles.
From this Michelle, what's his last name again?
Marcheterre. Recibimos un correo de su parte.
And he is saying that the meeting is canceled.
Y diciendo que el encuentro estaba cancelado.
That he asks about the women in my house.
Y estaba haciendo preguntas acerca de las mujeres de mi casa.
And he says that we're not organized.
Y dice que no estamos organizados.
That he's canceling the meeting under the auspice of that we're not organized and that we need to get organized.
Y está cancelando la junta basándose en el hecho de que no estamos organizados y nos tenemos que organizar.
So, of course, we didn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Por supuesto que no sabíamos de qué estaba hablando.
But we got word from a good friend of his who is our contact person to him.
Pero alguien que era la persona contacto con él, que su amiga nos dijo,
that he says the reason why he said this is because his girlfriend, who is from Chateauguay, gave him an ultimatum that if it's either her or us.
que debido a que su novia, que viene originalmente de Chateauguay, le dijo un ultimátum que eran o ella o nosotros.
Now, to me, this made no sense.
Para mí eso no tiene ningún sentido.
How does it make sense when both of them were just here on Saturday night and all relations were so good? Even she even agreed to work on an image for the corridor of truth, peace, power, and righteousness.
Tiene sentido si cuando estaban ambos aquí estaban bien contentos. Antes de irse, ella estuvo en trabajar en un diseño para el corredor de la verdad, la paz, el poder del buen camino.
So I'm not even going to talk to these people again.
entonces ya ni siquiera le voy a volver a hablar a esta gente.
This
de
is
nuevo.
where we are in our separation from corruption.
Es ahí en donde nos encontramos en la separación de la corrupción.
People think for some reason, whatever, maybe they believe we need them.
La gente piensa por alguna razón, quieren creer que necesitamos de ellos.
No, we don't need anybody. If somebody is going to rise to their responsibility, it has nothing to do with me. It's creation that needs that individual to rise to their responsibility.
Pero no necesitamos a nadie. Si va a haber alguien que va a levantarse de la creación para llenar ese papel, es la responsabilidad de esa persona en relación con la creación.
And so, well, when I concluded this, why would she say this? Why would that happen? It makes no sense. There's only one thing I can conclude.
Y cuando se concluye sobre esto, en decir, eso no tiene ningún sentido, ¿cómo es que ocurrió? Bueno, concluyo de una forma.
That when she was here, she revealed to us that she is the grandmother of a child that a guy in town has with her daughter.
Y lo que dijo es que mientras estaba aquí, ella tiene un nieto que es resultado de la unión de un chico de aquí de Canahuague con su hija.
No, we're talking about white people, non-native people. So her daughter is obviously white.
Estamos hablando de gente no indígena, entonces su hija es blanca.
So the only thing that I can conclude is that because she, the mother, does anybody remember her name?
Helen.
Ellen what? Okay, the only thing I can conclude is that Ellen, the mother of her daughter that has a child with the guy from town.
Entonces lo único que puedo concluir es que Helen, que es el nombre de la mamá de esta, su hija que tiene un hijo con alguien de aquí de Canahuague,
Was touched by somebody.
fue tocada, influenciada por alguien.
Meaning somebody within the system contacted her and threatened her. The only thing they could threaten is the status of her grandchild.
Que de otra forma, es decir, alguien dentro del sistema la contactó y le dijo que el estatuto de su nieto estaba en peligro.
So this is my deduction.
Y esa es mi deducción.
Now, this may not be rooted in fact. I have deduced this.
Y puede que no se base en ningún hecho. Soy yo quien ha deducido esto.
That the girlfriend of this Michelle,
Y que la novia de este Michelle,
in giving Michelle an ultimatum, saying to him, it's either me or them. Meaning if he works with us, she's going to leave him.
puesto que su novia le dio un ultimato diciéndole, si trabajas con ellos te voy a dejar, básicamente.
I can only conclude that the genocidal elected band system contacted her some way, threatening the status of her grandchild, either saying that they're going to take it away or else they'll give it.
Y lo único que puedo concluir es que alguien del sistema le contactó para decir que el estatuto de su hijo estaba en peligro, ya sea que se lo iban a retirar o que se lo iban a dar.
Now, the father, the native guy, and the guy from Kahnawake, who's the father, I know him. He worked for me. Him and his brother worked for me for years.
Y el chico de Canahuague del que estamos hablando, yo lo conozco, su hermano y él trabajaron para mí durante años.
And they're connected to my niece's family.
Y están conectados a la familia de mi sobrina.
And so I know that this guy doesn't have any kind of issues with me at all.
Y yo sé que este chico no tiene ningún problema para nada conmigo.
So I can't see him speaking to his mother-in-law and saying, hey, you better not be working with Stuart Mayo or else.
Entonces no puedo verle a él hablando con su suegra diciéndole, oye, mejor no trabajes con Stuart Mayo porque si no.
But the main corruption here is that a white woman from Chattagee stuck her nose into our business.
Pero la principal causa de todo esto es que una mujer blanca originaria de Chateauguay metió su nariz en nuestros asuntos.
And now she is going to pay the price.
Y ahora ella va a pagar el precio.
As she already is.
Como ya lo está haciendo.
Because from here, I can only deduce something.
Porque a partir de aquí solamente puedo deducir algo.
That The guy that she said this to, it's either me or them.
Que al hombre al que le dijo esto es ya sea ellos o yo.
After he canceled our meeting, after he cut off our ties,
Después de que él anuló nuestro encuentro y cortó los vínculos,
then our contact person for him, the person in between, spoke with him and told him certain things.
nuestra persona contacto habló con él y le dijo ciertas cosas.
Bottom line is, the very next day, he tried contacting us back a few times, and I don't care. I'm not answering his calls. I don't have to have any contact with him. In our vehicle, we do not have a rear view mirror, and there is no reverse.
Y al día siguiente nos habló varias veces, quería entrar en contacto, pero no respondí sus llamadas. Es algo que él no entiende, que no tenemos una como espejo trasero y lo que quedó atrás, pues ya quedó allí.
So what I'm showing you is that within a moon, we've had 3 separations that anybody else would say, oh no, to what comes after these separations, because the connections were corrupted, just as you see in here today.
Y lo que yo veo es, de hecho ya hemos tenido 3 separaciones de esta forma, es una separación de la corrupción, entonces no hay motivo de verlo algo como triste o algo. Yo al contrario, tengo ganas de ver qué es lo que va a ocurrir después de esa separación.
As you know, we are not looking for friends. I don't want to be friends with you. I don't want friends.
Como lo saben, yo no estoy en búsqueda de amigos.
All we are looking for, and we're not even really looking for this, it's what our Mother Earth needs, is people to be allies with each other.
Todo lo que necesitamos, y de hecho no soy yo quien lo necesita, sino nuestra Madre Tierra, es que la gente pueda hacer alianzas los unos con los otros.
Meaning, are we fighting the same fight?
Lo que significa, estamos luchando la misma lucha.
As you see in here today, we are not fighting the same fight.
Como vieron el día de hoy, no estamos haciendo la misma lucha.
Some people may be ahead on the path, some people may be falling way back.
Hay gente que esté adelante en el camino, hay gente que puede que esté cayendo por atrás.
No, anybody could observe us and say, we're the ones that fell way back on the path.
Y quien sea nos puede observar y ver, que somos nosotros los que estamos cayendo por el camino.
Then if that's the case, then everybody, like what you just seen here, and what this Michelle, whatever his last name is, these people should be happy that their ties are broken with us.
Y si ese es el caso, entonces Bárbara, como vieron el día de hoy, o Michelle, tendrían que estar contentos de ya no tener más vínculos con nosotros.
Everybody knows. Now, those of you who know me, you tell me if this is true or not.
Y los que me conocen, si me pueden decir si es cierto esto o no.
As soon as we see the corruption and we break away from it, I identify it. We are never having contact with that person again. And I never have contact with that person again.
En cuanto ocurre el corte con la corrupción, identificamos, no vamos a volver a tener contacto con esa persona y eso es lo que ocurre.
I do not need it. I do not want it.
No lo necesito y no lo quiero.
Now, if I can be accused of being whatever, like the first one, Cristobal Gotti, he accused me of being a dictator, right?
Y si voy a ser acusado de algo, como por ejemplo Cristóbal Cogí me acusó de ser un dictador.
And as you just heard right here, I was accused of a lot of things.
Y como escucharon aquí, fui acusado de muchas cosas.
I was compared, implied, to corrupt politicians, even though she argued afterwards, no, that's not what she implied.
Y se me comparó con políticos corruptos, aunque ella dijo que no era el caso.
But it is what was said.
Pero es lo que se dijo.
So maybe people just don't know or understand the things that they're saying.
Entonces a veces la gente no sabe o no entiende lo que está diciendo.
But I understand it.
Pero yo sí.
I comprehend Mauricio's action of refusing to be here today when he gave his word that he would be here.
Comprendo el hecho de que Mauricio no haya querido venir aquí, siendo que se había dicho que sí iba a ser el caso.
I comprehend the actions of the words that this Michel guy for the hemp, of what he said when he left the message of canceling the meetings.
Y comprendo las palabras de Michelle cuando dijo que estaba cancelando el encuentro.
I understand these words completely, the sentiments that these people mean.
Entiendo el sentimiento que esta gente implica
I take action.
y tomo una acción.
I am not undecisive.
No soy indeciso.
When I see the corruption, I'll point it out, and if it is not dealt with, I will deal with it.
Y cuando veo la corrupción y la señalo, si no se hace algo al respecto, voy a ser yo quien hace algo al respecto.
And I do not give a flying what anybody thinks about it, what anybody feels about it. It does not mean anything to me.
Y no interesa qué es lo que la gente vaya a pensar.
We're on our path, and it is a good path.
Estamos en nuestro camino y es un buen camino.
We know precisely what we're doing, where we're going, what our plan is. It's not an isolated plan for our town, our community, our village, our nation, our people. No, it is a plan for all people to take worldwide action that can be done with accomplishment within a 1 year span.
Sabemos lo que estamos haciendo y no es un plan para la gente aquí o nuestra comunidad, sino para el mundo entero y esto en un lapso de 1 año.
And people may say, well, you need people to do this.
Y la gente va a decir, pero necesitas gente para hacerlo.
No, we don't need corrupt ties. We don't need, and even if that person isn't corrupt, if the connection is corrupt, we don't need that.
Pero no necesitamos ningún vínculo corrupto, es decir, a pesar de que la persona no lo sea, si está asociada a eso, no lo necesitamos.
So everybody, apply this to your life also.
Entonces todo mundo apliquen esto a su vida,
Because if not, you're going to find yourself connected to or associated to someone or something that you do not agree with.
porque si no van a acabar estando asociados con algo o con alguien con quien no están de acuerdo.
Which is why, like I said, I take full responsibility for this break in communication with Mauricio and Barbara.
Y es por eso que digo que tomo la responsabilidad total de este quiebre en comunicación con Mauricio y Bárbara,
It's beneficial for them to not be associated with us.
porque es benéfico para ellos que no estén asociados a nosotros.
Because as you've seen, they want things, they like things in private.
Porque como ven, están acostumbrados, les gustan las cosas en privado,
The exact opposite of us.
lo opuesto de nosotros.
So it would not be good for Barbara or Mauricio to continue to be connected to us because somewhere down the line, it will be leading to something that they don't want, something public.
Y no sería bueno ni para Bárbara ni para Mauricio el seguir asociados con nosotros porque eventualmente llevaría a algo que no quieren que sea público.
I mentioned this last week or 2 weeks ago to the girls that they were affected by the Cristobal thing, and then during the week, this other thing, I says, get used to it. We're going to be cutting through people left and right every second of the day.
Y se lo dije a las chicas porque son ellas las que siempre están más afectadas por estas cosas, con lo que pasó con Cristóbal, lo que pasó con Michelle esta semana, y es como más bien acostúmbrense porque vamos a estar pasando por la gente así a izquierda y a derecha.
When you know how much corruption there is in the world, how could you not be engaged in a continuous separation from it?
Cuando se sabe cuánta corrupción hay en el mundo, ¿cómo no se podría estar comprometido en una separación continua de la misma?
Which would mean that most things that most people are doing on a daily basis is remaining compliant with corruption.
Lo que significaría que la mayoría de las cosas que la gente hace diario es estar en complacencia de la corrupción.
Who wants to remain compliant with corruption?
¿Y quién quiere seguir siendo complaciente con la corrupción?
Not me.
Yo no.
And so these ties, these connections, these are corrupted connections. We cut them, we sever them.
Estos vínculos que son corruptos los cortamos.
This is something that I highly suggest that all of you do on a daily basis, because if you're not, then point out to me how you are not connected to all the corruptions that are around us.
Puede que la gente diga que yo soy el problema.
Where people say that, like what was said here, that I'm unfair.
Y que la gente dice
Recording in progress.
y que la gente dice, como fue dicho aquí, que what was it? That you're what?
That I'm unfair.
Que soy injusto.
Imagine, I'm so unfair that we've created the platform for them in which to have their voice heard and expanded to the world, which they never had before.
Imaginen que soy tan injusto que creamos la plataforma para poder comunicarnos con el resto del mundo.
We allow them to speak as long as they want and even interfere into our time to our time of oration.
Y les permitimos hablar e incluso interrumpir cuando estamos hablando.
I am very happy that Barbara Mauricio has concluded that we are the corruption.
Y estoy contento de que Mauricio y Bárbara hayan concluido que somos la corrupción.
Even though you have heard her deny it and say no.
A pesar de que escucharon que lo negó.
The fact is, as you've seen this play out, they had latched onto something so far out of left field, something that was just a suggestion, that they took it like as if we're telling them what to do.
Y algo ocurrió que cuando se les propuso algo, la concepción, la comprensión fue como completamente tan malentendida que pensaron que se les estaba diciendo qué hacer.
Which is precisely how Cristobal Gotti ended up calling me a dictator.
Y es precisamente así que Cristóbal acabó llamándome dictador.
It's all good. I know that I can look at myself and I can say, well, I'm not connected to this corruption. I'm not connected to that corruption. I am not connected to a whole lot of corruptions that everybody else is connected to.
Y todo está bien porque yo puedo decir que no estoy conectado a corrupciones que el resto del mundo sí.
That is what makes me happy. That is what I am supposed to do in this world. I am not supposed to be kin to corruption.
Y eso es lo que me da gusto de saber que estoy aislado de esas corrupciones. No tengo que ser amigo con la corrupción.
So everybody know and understand that we have entered the final cycle now. The new moon, it's today, it's done now. This is it. 9 moons. 9 moons. That's it.
Entonces, que todo el mundo sepa que acabamos de entrar al ciclo final, lo único que queda son 9 lunas.
And if you can't understand or relate to what we're saying, 9 moons, and that's it.
Y si no lo pueden saber qué significa 9 lunas y ya.
We're not talking about anything that's going to change in the world around you. We're talking about what's going to change in the world inside of you.
No estamos hablando de lo que va a cambiar en el mundo alrededor de ustedes, sino de lo que va a cambiar en el mundo interior a ustedes.
How will you be able to stand in front of your mother if you are connected to corruptions?
¿Cómo van a ser capaces de estar de pie en frente de su madre si están conectados a corrupciones?
Try to figure that out.
Traten de saberlo.
Okay, all of this being said, this was a big day. It was a very good day.
Habiendo dicho esto fue un gran día, un buen día.
To tell you the truth, when I seen Barbara, I thought she was just here to talk about things, like to teach, because that's what, as you seen, what was in the letter. Come and share about the thing about Pachamama and whatever else.
Para ser honesto, cuando vi que Bárbara estaba aquí, yo pensé que venía para que habláramos de cosas, para que enseñara a la gente cómo había la conversación en el correo con respecto a Pachamama, etc.
But when it went south, I was very happy, because why put off the inevitable?
Pero cuando se fue para abajo, pues estoy contento, porque ¿para qué evitar lo inevitable?
Okay, so if anybody, if there are any original peoples from north to south who are standing against religion, against democracy, against false non-native education, against all the corruptions that the non-native has brought here.
si hay gente de los pueblos originarios que esté en contra de la religión, en contra de los sistemas políticos impuestos, en contra del sistema educativo impuesto, de la forma económica impuesta, de todo lo impuesto.
If it is of your mind that is taught that it is for us to return back to our traditional councils, back to our political systems, our educational systems, our social structures, if you agree with getting rid of all the white man's darkness and returning our light of our mothers, then we can be allies.
Si ustedes forman parte de esto, entonces podemos ser aliados en el regresar la luz de vuelta a nuestras madres.
And if there's nobody, well, big deal.
Y si no hay nadie, bueno.
We all approach what's coming at us under our own integrity.
Todos nos acercamos hacia lo que viene a nosotros dentro de nuestra propia integridad.
Okay, so only thing now is to close. And since there's nobody with us from the south, then we'll do the closing.
Entonces, lo único que queda es cerrar y como no hay nadie del sur, pues vamos a cerrar aquí.
Everybody, stay on your toes. Do not allow things like what happened here today to happen ever again.
Entonces, que todo el mundo esté bien puesto en su estación y que no se permitan que cosas como la que ocurrió hoy vuelvan a ocurrir.
If this ever happens again, that somebody is going to be cut off in such a fashion off of the Zoom, I am going to take action upon you.
Y si alguien más vuelve a hacer algo así, de que va a cortarle, a silenciar a alguien en el Zoom, voy a hacer una acción contra de ustedes.
I don't care who will be guilty of such an action. I will take action.
No me importa quién va a ser el culpable de esa acción, voy a hacer algo al respecto.
And so today we all grow, we all evolve and learn.
Y de esta forma hoy todos crecemos y evolucionamos.
So, onagadiwahi gajokos, well, don't see us, Nyardi. Kasi tanzariyo, yujits kahawinoji, and dajits kwe mista, hanata runi. Yes, a gahawe, close. The only word I can come up with, and of course, this is not the proper terminology. So yeah, anybody could laugh, but I can only come up with zaswa. You know, turn out the light. It's time to close it. Time to shut off this council, this process of the Eagle and the Condor. Ayoki at again, ha, yeti sota gunha, mayor on the headstone, they're going to hear it here, that you have a quick. Damdawe aron hetsera, because it's tasera, ne, aguegu, the true people of all our nations to bring this spirit back at all costs, no matter if it means that you, me, must remove ourselves out of the way. Damdawe aron hetsera ne asat ni got darge ganyaga haga radinyato ronhata haruni dana riskarewage. And for those of you who were with us last night, you know that when we are identifying the three clans, that we are not just simply talking about a turtle, a bear, and a wolf. You know that we are talking about the core of all things. And this is what must be returned in our minds, the knowledge of these things. Not just to be walking around in this world oblivious to the world, and every little thing that you do is destructive to it. And so we give thanks to our ancestors that they have led us down this path, that we are still holding true to Guyana Rasaraskana Goa, that regardless of what time we are in, that anybody can find their center, can position themselves within law, within our house, within good standing, by quite simply returning to original instruction. This is there for all of us. We all have access to it. Ayoki at again ha damdawi or hetzer and agoigo on a goder Guyana Hester go in the Skana. Dano Gazat Stasser and Ganungwe. Gazahaya? Am I saying that? Anyways, yeah, Dogatena Nahodia ducks, air the sawit, air the sawit, air the sawit. Kenya Hezuids in Ijueno. Oh, and just for everybody's information, don't ever forget, when you're talking to Ganyangahaga, in this scenario, you're not talking to Eat It. Eat It is not Ganyangahaga. Eat It is Zapotec. So when you're talking in this context, in this forum, when you're talking to Ganyangahaga, you're talking to me. And you are not going to impose that you are going to start talking to Eat It. It's not how it's going to work here. Okay, so Nyawagoa, everybody. We'll see you all later. Danzi Jadatka. Ona.